It's only homeschooling. In our homeschool, we have a motto: education is a journey, not a destination. So relax, it's only homeschooling. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 11 of the podcast. My name is Kimberly Bennett, and I am your host. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks for giving us a listen. A little bit about me. I am a licensed professional counselor turned homeschool mom of one. I am also an advocate for homeschooling children with learning differences. For more of my story and background, feel free to listen to episode 1 or check out my website at itsonlyhomeschooling.com. Oh, dear listeners, I apologize once again for my strained voice. My household is still recovering from illness. I hope it will not distract too much from today's message. Thanks for tuning in. I have my ever-present cup of tea nearby, so hopefully it will help me get through today's episode. If you have read any of my blog posts, visited my website, watched my YouTube videos, or listened to previous podcast episodes, then you know I have a passion for community outreach. Through this passion, the Salt and Light Spotlight was born. In this series, it is my sincere hope to shine a light on some amazing community outreach programs and encourage support. In episode 10, we shared that our family celebrates a plethora of holidays in February, but among our favorites are Random Acts of Kindness Day, February 17th, and Random Acts of Kindness Week, February 13th through 19th. In honor of these celebrations, we have chosen a very special organization for our February Salt and Light Spotlight, Under My Umbrella. In our last episode, we introduced you to Christina Cheng, mother, long-term philanthropist, career woman, and co-founder of Under My Umbrella, a 501c3 community outreach program. We learned about the humble beginnings of Under My Umbrella and listened as Christina shared how she planted and then nurtured the seeds of stewardship in her own home with her boys Ishaan and Avi. Today, in part 2 of our interview, we learned how Christina formed the heart of Under My Umbrella based on 3 tenets: education, empathy, and experience. 3 crucial components inherent not only to effective positive parenting, but also outreach leadership. Let's listen. Well, on your website, you talk about how you believe that there are basically 3 E's that you're wanting to accomplish through this organization with your kids: education, experience, and empathy. Can you speak to those a little bit with what you're trying to accomplish with your organization and your children?
And what we're trying to accomplish is kind of mirrors, what I'm trying to do as a parent. You always want to try to raise really good humans. And for me, I think in raising the boys, education, experience, and empathy, those to me are the foundation to being a good human. Education for one, so the boys understand that sometimes, we get into situations because we either don't have the education. They've seen me teach GED classes at the shelter. They've seen me teach financial literacy classes at the shelter. So they understand that sometimes people get into situations because they don't have the tools. They were never taught the tools to survive or to make their way out. And so, but education goes both ways, just as we don't understand someone's situation, they don't understand maybe, credit and, things like that. But maybe we don't understand how difficult it is to be in that situation and how difficult it is to come out of that situation too. So I think more important for me is for our community to understand that it's not just handing somebody a plate of food or handing somebody, some hand sanitizer. There's learning going on both sides. Um, we're trying to show that if they want to root out of this homelessness, that it is possible. And we're letting them teach us about just different circumstances. Sometimes people find themselves in situations by choice, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they find themselves in situations because of circumstances.
Yeah.
And we all have to learn about that, and be okay with that, because it is our community. My boys have seen people do beautiful, lovely things when we're doing outreach. They've seen some things that they have questions about. And they've seen some things that have bothered them, like they've seen people on drugs, they've seen people drunk, they've seen people be mean, and all those. It's part of learning and it's part of education.
Mm-hmm.
So these are things we talk about after we do outreach. If they see something that they don't understand, um, and I think the more we just have information at our fingertips, the better it will be for everyone and everything. So education, I think, is very important. Like I said, when I used to do all those financial literacy classes, that was really important for me to do, because a lot of times people don't understand. And when you live in a society that's centered around credit, once you've ruined your credit score, it's very difficult for you to get a car, get an apartment, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and that's something that we can give back, that
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily cost us any money. It's time, right? Maybe I don't have a lot of money, but I can give you my time, and I can give you my education, my expertise in whatever area. Um, so that, I think, is the education aspect. As far as the empathy aspect, you know, I think that it's a good way for what we try to do in Under My Umbrella is to give everybody a way to help if they choose, within their means, within the constraints of their time, whatever it may be. When I was trying to volunteer with my children, a lot of times, volunteering was like this day and this time. Well, I couldn't do that. Or this day and this time, and the kids have to be this age, and I couldn't do that.
Right.
Or you have to commit to this, this, and this, and I couldn't do that. And so what we're trying to do is find a way for everyone to get involved. And if we don't have a way set up for you to get involved, let us know and we'll figure it out. So we have people that literally collect those plastic takeout utensils for us.
Oh, I do that.
Yeah. And,
I
and
do
you know,
that.
and that's perfect, because sometimes you're like, I have all
Yeah.
this plasticware. What do I do with it? And we use it to serve food. And then our business sponsor that gives us the food, then they don't have to buy it on their end. So it's a way for us to upcycle. It's a way for this person to get involved. It costs nothing really. And, so all those things, we try to get everyone involved, because the more empathy there is, I feel like literally the world would just be a better place. For some of our kids that are young, that, can't go and do outreach physically with us, we're like, we'll give you a bunch of brown paper bags. You can decorate them, color them, put nice messages on them. And that's what we put the snacks and everything to hand out to our neighbors. And that way the little tiny kids can get involved too. So we really try to find ways for everybody to not, if you want to write me a check, I'll take a check. But a lot of people can't just do that, and we understand that. So, saving those plastic grocery bags, we always need those. And basically just anything that anyone can think of can do, to contribute. We're happy to figure out how to make it work and upcycle it to help somebody else. If that
We are
makes
going
sense.
to connect further after this too, because I have so many resources I can give you that I have been collecting too that can support as well, from the grocery bags to the utensils and all.
Mm-hmm.
But, but
Yeah.
yes, you touched on the education component, and that resonates so deeply with me, just not only as a homeschool mom, but as as we were learning this past month in January for poverty awareness, one of the big education components was so many people lay blame at the foot of the person who is homeless as though it is their personal responsibility that they ended up in those circumstances. Sometimes it is from their choices, but many times it's not. It can be from a natural disaster. It can be from a job loss. It can be from a major illness. It can be from so many different things. And the point is to shift the narrative and move it away from that focus of blame. Because with the blame, what follows is shame. And none of that goes in with helping the person who none of that is part of empathy. None of that is part of compassion. And none of that is going to actually build that rapport that you need with that person to help actually make an impact in their life. And that's really what it's about. It's learning that, in all honesty, this could happen to any of us.
Yes.
It could happen to any of us.
Hey,
and I would hope. No, please go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if you just in listening to some people's stories, you realize that, a lot of these people, they have amazing stories. They were incredibly successful, and it was, one bad circumstance and then a bad decision and then circumstance and then, kind of spiraled out of control. And I tell the boys all the time, it is not our place to pass judgment. We are there to provide a meal and a listening ear and resources if we're asked, but it is not our place to place judgment on somebody else, ever.
No, not at all. Those are some big upstairs shoes that I'm certainly not going to try and fill.
Right, exactly.
Not at all. Not at all. And I think what a lot of people don't understand as well is it takes quite a bit of, changing a lot of your cognitive shift, if you will, just from operating from that survival mindset. You don't think beyond your next moment of just getting by or just getting through this moment. You can't possibly plan for the future because you've always been operating from that fight or flight mode and you literally don't know anything else. And that takes a lot to work your way out of. And it sounds like something that's you're familiar with from your financial classes, just being familiar with meeting people in all of those circumstances. But yes, I think the components you have that you're hitting on the top three that I think, whether you work in a nonprofit or whether you are a homeschool parent or just a parent in general, that's definitely a triad there.
It's literally, for me, and what I try to, and again, this organization mirrors, what I'm trying to instill in my children is boots on the ground. We can talk all day long, but I want to see some action, and I want to see you build that experience, because unless you come from a place of experience, again, then it becomes harder to build empathy. But if you're out there and you're doing the work and you are in the trenches, boots on the ground, front line, then you literally see and experience all these different scenarios. And I think it gives you an even bigger platform, for that empathy. So
it does. It translates.
I encourage them to get out there and do the work and see all the things, even if it's difficult to see, even if, it's heartbreaking at times, which it is.
Yeah, we don't shy away from those difficult emotions just because they are difficult. We learn how to cope so that we can learn how to manage them, and we move ahead. From a mom to a mom, I know I have seen some changes in my son over the years with all of the they're slow and they're getting there, and a lot of it's developmental with his age as to what he understands and with the depth of his understanding. But as you have watched your children grow over the years, before even Under My Umbrella was formed, with all of the service that you've done, what impact have you been able to witness personally, and how have you witnessed your children change and grow over the years through Under My Umbrella and through your outreach and service efforts?
I've seen some pretty cool changes. With kids, we started when they were so young that, mommy had to do most of the planning and organizing and and developing of their ideas, right? Even though they have this idea, hey, I want to feed the homeless or whatever, but mommy had to kind of put those steps in place. Now it's really, really awesome to see that they can take some of those responsibilities on their own. My boys, when we get donations, and they do inventory. They know, what kind of snacks we need, how much we can fit in the car. My youngest son, the 12-year-old, maintains our website. My oldest son, the 15-year-old, puts out our newsletters every month.
Your 12-year-old maintains your website.
He does. So if there's any typos, you can direct it towards him.
That's impressive.
He had to learn how to make a web page and things like
Sure.
that. And so I think it's something like this is great because the seed is their idea, and we nurture it, and they themselves can grow and add to it, and to see them take more of a leadership role now has been really nice. The only thing they can't do is do the driving, but it really helps as far as their confidence. Going back to their original when they were small and thinking, Mommy, I'm too small. I can't do anything. I can't help anyone. I can't make any change. Now that they're older, I'm like, but look how far we've come. Look what you've done. You can tally, and of course, you can do the metrics and say, oh, you've fed this many people. Oh, you've done, but this is a growing process, and it gives them ownership of something as well. So to see them really take over more and more has been really nice as a mom for me.
That is a life skill that you're not going to find in a textbook. You're not going to find in a classroom.
You're not. And, I always say, I don't know why we don't have in our curriculum a general, how to make it in life course where you learn to change your tire, do your laundry, balance your checkbook, stuff like that. And this is, part of it. When we have a budget, when we get a donation, I say, boys, this is how much we have. When we go shopping for it, we have to stay within budget and say, how many people can we feed within this budget? Or, hey, we have all these things that we need to take in our car. What's priority? Because the car is only so big. So allowing them to grow into that and make some of those decisions. Again, we have had to learn along the way. But, I think it's an integral part of their growth and development process.
Oh, I agree. Wholeheartedly. And just hearing how much they've grown, it kind of has me, it's going through my mind of how I can look ahead to see, okay, so I will see more of the fruits of this, or this will bear fruit in a couple of years. And it's
definitely will. Definitely will. And I think sometimes kids have these grand ideas, for our Christmas thing, my son would be like, oh, I want to have a hot cocoa bar, and I want to do this, and I want to do this. But having that real world experience helps them understand that it's okay to have big ideas, but we also have to be practical too. Right. He wanted to have a food truck, and he wanted to have a bus with a washer dryer in it, and all these things. I'm like, that's great, but let's step by step and figure out what's feasible. But I think those are also important life skills too, is for them to understand what's plausible within our reach at the moment and what's not within our reach yet. So
that key word yet. I can see where he's going, and I can tell you he'll get there. Just give him another decade or two. It's coming.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to let us know all about the wonderful achievements of Under My Umbrella. What are some ways that patrons can support your organization, and what would you say to young philanthropists who might be listening?
So we, like I said, we really try to make space for anybody that wants to make an impact. So whether you are saving plastic utensils, we have Amazon wish lists if you want to send us stuff. I think everybody in the city of Allen knows my porch because that's where donations are dropped off and or picked up. Um, we are on Corp Benevity, so any kind of corporate matching giving site, Amazon, Smile, all of that. As far as for people who are starting out, um, I would say about maybe not quite a year ago, I was invited to an inspiring women's event in Arlington. And I was so hesitant to go. One of my friends, my big sister, nominated me for the outreach work that we do. And I thought to myself, I don't belong in this room of incredibly accomplished women, women with nonprofits, women with businesses, women who were, social media influencers. I mean, this is a, a lot of power in that room. Um, but they welcomed me, and that was like literally the little push that I needed. um, and then a couple of months after that is when we filed for 501c3 status. So I think it's also important for us as a community to support other people, us as women and mothers to support other women and mothers in whatever that they're doing, um, because you never know what they can do unless you give them a chance. And, for me, I was like, when they brought me on stage, I was like, I don't belong here. Uh, but that was a yet, you know, I just needed that little push. And I think that, I encourage people to reach out, and all these ladies were strangers to me. And they just saw what I was doing, kind of like you, via social media, and wanted to support. And that's all it was, is they wanted to support. So, and I'm happy to support anyone who wants to get out there and start their own outreach or try to think of ways to help other people. Because community is really what it's all about. And just being kind to each other and support each other. So.
It is. Community is what it's all about. And we thank you so much for your time today. And I look forward to hearing more great things from Under My Umbrella. And I will put all sorts of contact information for you in our show notes. But for now, if you want to learn more about how you can contribute to Under My Umbrella, visit her website at www.under-my-umbrella.org. Thank you so much, Christina, for taking the time to chat with us today. We appreciate all of your efforts.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sharing the bounty. When something feels this good, you don't keep it to yourself. Before long, word spread of the family's community service, and their little project grew in a big way. From her early beginnings volunteering in homeless shelters with her children, to handing out bottles of water, hygiene essentials, hot coffee, warm blankets, and non perishable food items, Christina's efforts began to draw attention. In 2022, Christina's name was suggested by friend and big sister Rosalind Bryant, founder of Helping Hands, Open Hearts, a Dallas nonprofit, for honor and recognition at the Inspiring Women's Gala. Ever humble, Christina recounted how she looked around the room filled with successful women, small business owners, nonprofit founders, and prominent social media influencers, and thought, I don't belong here. Thankfully, the imposter syndrome did not last long. Overwhelmed by the outpouring of support and encouragement, Christina felt inspired by the camaraderie of the room. Women united in one common goal: service. The gratitude she felt from this event lingered. In fact, it gave her the push she needed to file for nonprofit status for her family's little service project. In October 2022, Under My Umbrella was born. Replant. We believe that hard work, consistency, and mutual respect has formed the foundation for Under My Umbrella. We say that it is indeed hard work, but it is most definitely heart work. Christina Cheng, co-founder, Under My Umbrella. The hard work of their heart work has helped not only nurture two young men, but also inspired their supporters to help change the world, one random act of kindness at a time. The good news about the good works of this family continues to spread. Ishaan and Avi were recently featured as rising stars in Voyage Dallas magazine, a periodical highlighting inspirational stories in the Dallas area. From her lifelong experience in service, Christina knows all too well the challenges that parents of young children face when looking for volunteer opportunities. With this knowledge, Christina has put in the extra effort to make volunteering with Under My Umbrella flexible and accommodating for busy families. If you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and would like to support Under My Umbrella, you can contact Christina through her website at www.under-my-umbrella.org. Consider donating to their outreach program, a program providing food, clothing, and other essentials to unsheltered and vulnerable communities weekly. You can support them with a click of your mouse through their Amazon wish list. Monetary donations are also accepted. Perhaps you would like to support their Rainy Day Fund, a program to fill in the gaps for small specific needs, such as school supplies for a family, bus fare for a medical appointment, or clothing for an interview. Love helping around the holidays? Consider participating in their Holiday Outreach Program, a program meant to spread love to children at a shelter or seniors at an assisted living facility through their Build a Tree and Light a Menorah project. Want to learn more about how to ignite a passion for outreach in your homeschool? Check out my blog at www.itsonlyhomeschooling.com. Truth be told, you don't need a dedicated day, week, or month to show your fellow humans empathy and compassion. You can cultivate a servant's heart in your home with the tiniest of gestures. With the It's Only Homeschooling podcast, we invite your family to join ours for life lessons beyond the classroom. We hope you'll make us one of your regular stops along the way in your homeschool adventures. And remember, education is a journey, not a destination. Until we meet again, take a deep breath and relax. It's only homeschooling.